Good morning, welcome back. This is Daybreak and thank you for staying with us. The hashtag on X is Citizen Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya and at Ayub Abdikandir. This morning in studio with me is the Kisii County Senator Richard Onyonka. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning, Ayub.
Lovely having you here on the broadcast.
Thank you. It's been a while. I'm happy to be home. I'm happy to see you. And I'm happy to see my colleagues.
We'll talk more about what happened yesterday at the committee where you walked out.
Thank you.
In expression of frustrations, presumably.
Thank you.
Kadiani MP Robert Mbui is with us in the studio. Good morning.
Morning, Ayub. Good morning, our viewers.
Thank you for making time for the broadcast. And Uriri constituency lawmaker Mark Nyamita joins us this morning on the broadcast. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Lovely having you here as well.
Thank you.
Well, we invited the woman rep for Singishu County and the Deputy Speaker Gladys Sholei, boss rather, and she has not heeded our invitation to turn up for the show this morning here on the broadcast. Nonetheless, we proceed. Let's begin with the happenings across the country, and this is of concern for the Kenyan public. Senator, first to begin with you shortly, we'll be having a soundbite of what transpired yesterday between you and your colleagues Edwin Sifuna Nairobi and the Nandi County Senator Samson Cherargei and the National Treasury and Economic Planning CS John Mbadi. It appears that the cloud of uncertainty that's dark hanging over the Adani deal is not yet going. And what informed your frustrations yesterday at the Senate when you walked out?
You see, we came to interrogate the details on what is happening to this Adani issue. And the problem we've been having, the Adani thing is becoming more like an octopus. Once you open one route here, another one appears on the left, another one appears on the right. And what we have discovered is that this was a concerted effort where a company is either successfully bidding or successfully offering to provide service to our country. Apparently, this company has taken over very important sectors in our economy, basically intensely frustrating. And then when we are sitting at committee and we are asking the chair and the CS, the chair, of course, to guide and the CS to articulate his positions, we just found out that the chair is either completely misunderstanding the standing orders, or, like I said, we believe that the way our country has become, you get keep. I mean, we didn't have any other option. Why is it that we are trying to say, this is the information we have, this is what we want the Kenyan public to know, and this is the interrogation we need to do so that we can actually understand exactly what happened with this Adani deal. And then when you begin to raise those issues, you find, like the CS is telling us, no, the Adani deal, it is important, we now need to have a new airport. We said, no. We are not saying we can't have an airport, which is new. We are not even questioning the project itself. Have we done it within the law? Okay. Have we done it properly? Have we got value for money? Are you with me?
Yeah.
This project, we have absolutely, most of us in the Senate, we have no issues with it. What we have an issue about is how it's being done. So when we have been picking evidence and information, and Ayub, this information is being given to us by wonderful Kenyans like me. You know, most people, I found some of my colleagues talking to me, they're saying, oh, now it looks like this Adani thing, you've really pushed it, and how much money have you got for us? I said, this is the mentality deficit that our leaders and friends have got, that anytime they see you talking about a public matter, public good, then you must have made money, or somebody has promised you some money. And I've told them, I am so sure that even if anybody tried to follow up whether I've been given money for such nonsense, I wouldn't take it. The reason for that is we are not interrogating this thing to blackmail anybody. What we are saying, we are Kenyans, I work in the Senate, my job is to oversight government, or anybody for that matter, so the national government or the county assembly and county governments, that's my responsibility. So when we go to committee, and I think, I don't know whether it's because we have not quite understood the system we picked after the 2010 Constitution.
Okay.
It is at the committee level that we interrogate issues. It's at the committee level that we should come with conclusions. It's at the committee level that the public sees who's saying the truth and who's lying. But then when we go to hold a discussion, when we are engaging ourselves on such a weighty matter, then you find either the CS is not serious to answer to us the question we are asking,
okay.
And then what is so heartbreaking, and Ayub, this is again how we made our committees dysfunctional, because a committee which conducts oversight of the Senate, for all intents and purposes, all those committees actually, to me, that is my interpretation now, should have been left with the opposition, so that members can be from the other side of government, so that when you're interrogating, the chairman is supposed to allow you to exhaust most of the issues. The chairman is supposed to even participate by guiding whether we are following the laws,
okay.
we are following the standing orders,
right.
and the rule and the constitution.
Okay.
So what happened yesterday was that when we tried to tell the chair, allow us, like you saw yesterday, I have got 3 letters. All these letters have been received at the Kenya Airports Authority. 2 of them have been received. There's a stamp and the date, and somebody has signed on it. 1 was actually sent to the Ministry of Transport. Earlier on, the CS had made an argument that if the letter was addressed to the minister, after all, this department, which is Kenya Airports Authority, is domiciled with the Ministry of Transport, so there really wouldn't be a controversy over that. When I presented those letters, the minister then said, no. You couldn't have presented this letter to anybody else other than KAA.
Okay.
So we are like, KAA is not an entity that is in some space where you don't know them. They are these companies. They brought their letters. They made a request for them to be allowed to do their PPP.
Okay.
They were going to make their presentations, but it looks like every single time these people were trying to either present their documents or they were trying to make their case, they hit a brick wall.
Oh, we'll talk more about the 3 paperwork that you had at the Senate. Honorable Mark Nyamita, coming to you. When Kenyans accorded unto themselves the 2010 Constitution, they also established upon themselves how they wanted to be governed, the institutions, the order of government, public finances, and the accountability that lies therein. From where you sit, did the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi yesterday provide cogent answers to such a demanding and weighty public matter?
Thank you, Ayub. First of all, let me say that John Mbadi was in Parliament yesterday, but he was at the Senate, not at the National Assembly. So I wasn't in that committee. Neither did I watch what exactly transpired. But let me just say that by virtue that he had been actually called to the Senate over such a weighty issue as the Adani Deal, it is incumbent upon him to really come out to the public. Because one of the biggest things that I think we have a problem in this country is issues of trust deficit for the government. And it's not only this government. I mean, many other governments have had issues of trust from the public. So any other time when you want to spend public money, when you want to get into a deal, for example, the Adani deal is a 30-year deal. 30 years is not a short time. In 30 years' time, in 30 years' time, some of us would be
dead.
No, me, I will not be dead. My good friend says, yeah, we'll be dead. But basically 30 years,
with a light touch,
we'll have actually gone beyond the term of office for most of the people who are making actually this decision. So it's actually almost a decision for posterity. So the only thing that the cabinet through Mbadi, through the Ministry of Transport and the Kenya Airports Authority, need to come out very, very clearly from the onset. Who has shown interest in this thing? Who are they? What are the conditions that they've set out? Who has actually met? Because if you refuse to interrogate all the other proposals, or if the public begins to feel like not all the proposals are actually interrogated, that's where the problem is. I remember, this country, for example, what led us to the last protest is because a number of things, and I think the president has also come out to actually acknowledge that there's an issue of communication. When you do not communicate, when you do not provide enough information in good time, when you provide it even later, then trust is gone. Look at what happened during the finance bill. There were many issues Kenyans raised. They were dropped at the last minute. When they were dropped at the last minute, then the public outrage was already at a higher level. Therefore, they said, no, now we don't want to listen to it. Later on, when people now are looking at the finance, they're saying, okay, one or two things maybe are okay. So on this particular issue of Adani Deal, the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury, John Badi, who has been our colleague in Parliament, the CS for Treasury, Transport, and KA need to actually bring every single document. And we need to know, for example, how much does KA raise today? How much is KA going to raise after this particular deal has actually come through? These are actually basic hygiene issues that need to actually be sorted out. So I think the moment, for example, also in the issues of committee in Parliament, I think this is a very big debate. You know, Parliament, in this particular constitution, as you actually have said, Parliament is actually Parliament. There is no government in Parliament. We actually oversight the executive. So whether you are chair or a member of a committee or you're on the majority or a minority side, we are supposed to be actually Parliament and to be properly interrogate. Yeah, you shouldn't be seen to be blocking certain things. Okay,
and to just get the context of this, Honorable, still Nyamita with you. 11th of June, the Cabinet approved the National Aviation Policy and the JKIA Medium-Term Investment Plan because of the growing demand and Kenya being a regional hub. And this was amongst the other issues that were proposed: refurbish the existing terminals, build a second runway, enhance cargo handling facilities, and new passenger terminal building. Now, the challenge is, whilst that came before Cabinet on the 11th of June, Adani had already presented its proposal since March, and it was under review by the time it came to Cabinet. Then doesn't that then substantively raise the doubts that Kenyans have? And are you as doubtful as the public are regarding what has happened between the 3-month period where the proposal was sent in, privately initiated by Adani, and Cabinet considered a privately initiated proposal before it approved the 2 plans for the JKIA facility? Doesn't this raise concerns of accountability, process, and the shrouding in secrecy of such a weighty matter that the public is concerned about today?
Well, if you ask me, not exactly. The thing is, there is, on the issue of a cabinet approval happening after certain thing was already ongoing, personally, I don't see anything wrong with that. And for this reason, that today, I can also, for example, even at a constituency level, I can have begun doing certain things that I think are okay. Then I realize that maybe I need a cabinet approval to be able to do this, so that maybe we make it a bit more robust, and it still goes. I have a project in my constituency, which is expansion of the Gogo power plant. It's also a donor-funded project. It's going to be about 3.4 billion. Before that, KenGen had already begun doing the feasibility study. They already had begun looking for who to partner with. Then it got to a point, then we realized that now we need a cabinet approval. But the due diligence had already, they already started. So when they took it to cabinet, and many projects have happened as such, many, this is not the only one, and there is actually absolutely nothing wrong with it, especially if at the point of consumption, all the laws were actually followed. There are many other things also that have happened that go all the way, then is when they're taking to cabinet approval before implementation.
But might you not be then concerned of how they established the information that JKIA needed uplift?
I think the issue of JKIA needing uplift, I mean, even as we're interrogating this thing, the uplift of JKIA and the need to expand our airport is not anything new. It's not anything new with this government, if we were to be very honest. We see how our competitors in Ethiopia are actually expanding. Look at our neighbors in Rwanda, the way they're expanding. So the need for a new airport, the need for an expanded airport was actually even in the previous, almost 10 years back. So it is something, I think there was even an attempt to contract for it at that particular time. So it's not anything new, if you ask me.
Thank you. We'll expound more because I need some follow-ups and accountability as well. Honorable Mboye, coming to you. And when we talk about this, there are, of course, matters that are equally pressing, which are of public concern. But allow me to take you to what the Constitution says on the aspect of openness, accountability in matters relating to public finances. And Adani is no exception in this regard. it seems that there is a ping-pong game that the government is playing with the Kenyan public about this. And as Parliament, as a House, you will be critical at certain stage of this entire process. What will you do to help the Kenyan people's cause?
Yeah, I think, Ayub, first and foremost, we will do what we are supposed to do. We will oversight this executive. And we will do our job without fear or favor. But allow me to thank the Honorable Senator for Kisii, the Honorable Onyonka, first and foremost for exposing this secretive deal. If it wasn't for him, the airport would go and would be none the wiser. Because he came out, he discovered it and he raised it and in several media houses, and suddenly the whole country is now dealing with it. In fact, I will say that as Azimio, we were successful to join a court process yesterday that is intending to stop this whole process because we believe that it isn't right. First and foremost, the Adani deal was a secret deal. And in fact, many other times when we were told that, these documents are not supposed to be exposed to anyone. Mm-hmm. But that goes against the Constitution. I mean, there is no act of Parliament that is superior to the Constitution, Article 10, that talks about things to do with openness and transparency and also public participation. For us to be able to do such a project, the public has to be involved, the public has to participate. Again, there's also questions about the monopoly, the monopolistic nature of Adani's deal. Because Adani suddenly, of all the companies in the world, is the only one that can get into Kenyan space to deal with things to do with the airport. They are also, we know, involved in the energy sector. How is it possible that one company in the whole world is the only one that is getting deals in Kenya unless there's a direct connection between them and some senior ranking officials of this government? So I think at the end of the day, what we are concerned about is that this thing smells of a scam. And let me tell you, the Greenfields program is not a new program. Adani are not the initiators of the Greenfields program that was to expand the airport. And when that deal was struck and the need for the expansion of the airport came up, there were even, there were certain taxes that were imposed in our tickets. For your information, Ayub, every time we buy an air ticket, there is a certain amount of money that is inbuilt into that ticket for purposes of the expansion of the airport. The questions we are asking is, where is that money going? Where has it been going all these years? How come we cannot live within our means? As a country, we are constantly going beyond, beyond our means, and I think that's a tragedy. But on the part also of the CS yesterday, I just want to remind the CS that he's no longer a member of Parliament. So he has to carry himself in a certain when he goes to the committee, because he seemed to want to control the committee. The committee is managed by Parliament, and he is supposed to only give information when allowed. But what I saw, but I can just say that what he has gone through since he left Parliament to join this Kenya Kwanza administration is an incredible metamorphosis. I can't recognize him anymore.
You mean John Buddy?
Yes. He has completely changed.
Yes, Senator.
So, it is true. Power really intoxicates. You see, what I actually expected was that the CS, John has been one of my greatest friends, for real. I started ODM with him in 2005. We were really young boys. We've been slonging it out. And he's most reasonable. You'll never find Bandi being crazy, whichever way you look at it. He's always reasonable. There was always that extra element of him being cautious and raising the issues if need be. So what, for me, what blows our minds up is that, let me ask you, how do we take $2 billion and give it to one company, and this company is going to do something for our country which we don't know, except a few people? What we've been going through is that, like my case, this is information that was sent over to me, which then I picked up and slowly began to think what to do with it. These are individuals of good faith who are saying, you guys, do you notice that nyumba imeenda? So I was like, what are you saying? What we want our leadership to do, the Adani case for me, Ayub, is a true representation of our failure as members of Parliament, as members of the Senate, as leadership. where our natural resources are being shared by individuals who are least interested to know what we feel. And what is even more complex and more difficult to understand, only that now when you go deeper and you begin to interrogate, you understand what happened with the Gupta family in South Africa. Mm-hmm. They destroyed the power supply company called Eskom. They then moved in and started supplying the military with arms, which were usually, they would never supply new arms. They would supply used and rehabilitated arms which are painted, and they would lie to the public. That came out in the report which was presented in South Africa. In fact, my honest observation is that I'm going to persuade my colleagues that we need a special commission to investigate this thing, because it's gone even beyond our capacity. Why? You have Adani now being the main mother of the company Adani Power something, which is going to take over Ketraco. Then you have Adani, which is now also the negotiations which are taking place for them to take over Kengen. Adani is interested in making sure that they take over geothermal. Then Adani is supposed to be handling, if you notice the letters which were written by the other companies, the ones that presented, all those letters are asking for these people to go and visit all the airstrips in Kenya. Mm-hmm. All right, I have those letters. If you see them, one letter is saying, allow us to have access to Eldoret, Mombasa, we want to go to Kisumu and Lodwar. I've been saying over and over and over, the problem with Adani is not that they are targeting KQ. Mm-hmm. I mean the JKIA. Okay. They are actually targeting the whole infrastructure of all our 9 airports. When you look at Adani, then you discover a company is formed where one member of the presidential advisory team, his wife is the director of that company. The company is the one which is supposed to provide technical financial platform on how they are going to run SHIF. All right, then you get information amongst the people involved in this company is a company that is managing a health facility in Nairobi West, which then the owner is actually the agent of Adani in Kenya. Then you understand that they've been buying health facilities in Kenya, where now this SHIF outfit will be keeping certain hospitals owned by private individuals, including Adani, so that then they will be paying using their system. These guys are setting their own financial system, which will run all of our health sector. And then they are setting up health facilities within this system where they'll be putting their patients and paying them. If that is incredible self-interest, so run through all this, Ayub, in simple terms, that is what is called state capture.
Thank you. When we get back, Senator, from the break, then we'll seek the answers as to how what you have presented here can be addressed, because the remedy must be founded. And there is parliament to that. There are institutions that have been set up by the Constitution that Kenyans have given unto themselves. And Honorable Maknyamita will be coming back with you after the break here on the broadcast to talk more about what the Public-Private Partnership Act says in terms of how procurement processes should be done at that level. The hashtag on X is Citizen Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya and at Ayub Abdikadir. We are back with more after the break. Stay tuned.